Well, hello people, and welcome to a special 42nd episode of Egginburgh. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you to Paradox for sponsoring today's video, as we're going to use the brand new UK Creators Around the World pack developed by Macwelshman and Rik4000 to create a really cute British-inspired town in our current existing map. We're going to get started with a little highway interchange here today, which is actually a replica of Junction 21A on the M6. A bit of motorway I frequent very often. I thought this would be a perfect place to start pulling some UK style inspiration, and then also setting up some further base road frames so we can start building today. So please enjoy the road time lapse, and I will catch you in the live play as we begin to play with some really wonderful UK style assets. So now we have our base UK inspired road frame down. I want to start placing some of these really wonderful assets. So I'm pleased to report that they all really respect the UK vibe. There's some really fun ones here. So first of all, in classic UK fashion, let's get started with a pub. So we're going to put the Heath pub with a terrace. I think right on the street corner here. I think there's something so quintessential about a pub on a corner in the UK, isn't there? And that right there is something I am tremendously on board with. Isn't that fabulous? Let's get a little look at this asset, shall we? So it's got the classic red dragon on the front, Brian's, established 1882. Aren't they just so cool? So I've never really built a UK-inspired city, and maybe this will be the pack that leads us to eventually try that one day, maybe after Egginburgh comes to an end. we can do a UK build. But isn't it wonderful? Look at this. It's very UK. I'm very keen to see just how this pack stands up, with it being obviously my home country for the first time I've ever played British assets before. So I have this here. Let's come ahead and get another one. So we've also got some petrol stations as well, which, at least in my regional slang, can be abbreviated to Pecky. So you can say, we need to top up on Pecky, lad, is something that you, that you could say if you wanted to. But again, wonderful, right? Mac4000. Absolutely tremendous. Again, massive credit to all the asset creators here that have done such a pristine job in capturing the atmosphere. It's little, like, corrugated iron roof, little automobile. We've even got the MOT sign down there as well. That's so cool. That's very cool. Awesome. So we'll have a petrol station on the corner opposite our pub. And I really want to make a kind of UK style high street here. I'd also like to include some of the service buildings. So let's bring up a road down toward our coastline here. So we can be much more free and easy with the road networks here. Now there is some grid present in the UK, just not to the extent and the scale of the US really. But we can certainly be a lot more free and windy with our roads. So I think what we will do is follow the topography here and just try and respect that top line. Bring it under here. And then we can pack in some services and whatnot around here at some point. So we have 2 signature buildings down already. There is the church inn, which we might use. But I think for the rest of this high street, I definitely want some services along here. So let's come into our schools. So here we have our urban primary school. So I don't want this to be right against the road. I'm going to place that there. Now, does this have any upgrades? We can add some extra capacity, which we will. And then we can also add more capacity with extra classrooms. So a lot of the time in the UK, schools like elementary and high schools, or secondary schools as they're called in the UK, will be very close to each other because often they're feeder schools. So kids that attend this primary school will very often go to the nearby high school as a bit of a, I guess, a feeder kind of school, if you like. So with that there, we'll have our primary school on this road, and then I'd like to place the high school, I think, around here, maybe just across the street. So let's go into our roads and we'll draw some space up for this. So we don't want a junction so close to this one, so let's maybe go for like 200 meters down the road, something like that. So we'll feed this up. Then let's try and prepare a little angle for that high school to sit on. And then we'll draw this straight across 180-degree snap. There we go. And then let's see if we can place our high school down here. So let's have that one on that angle there. Shouldn't tear into the terrain too much. We are on a hill here. But again, what a tremendous asset, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful. Nice little detail in the plaza here. And this looks exactly like the public school I went to. It's scary almost. It's very cool. These big like science block windows. Is there a bike shed with kids smoking cigarettes behind it? There should be, if it's a UK school. We'll have to identify the smoking point, won't we? But either way, let's check out the upgrades on this one. So we have the indoor sports building, which is going to give extra capacity. What do we actually need? We're actually not too bad on high school capacity for the first time in literally forever in Egginburgh. But we can have a technology wing. What's this going to do for us? I think all student capacity, is it? Very good. What does this hold by itself? 1,500. So we can take it to 1,950 with that, can't we? I'm going to add those in. I'm going to be a big fan of those, I think. And again, just so cool. I absolutely love it. So there is also a urban primary school, but this isn't really the vibe I want to go for today. Despite that, it is another wonderful asset. Really cute. But not the vibe I'm trying to instill today, so we'll leave that there. Continuing with our services, let's have a look at fire. So we can place down our UK fire station, which is going to be a very welcome asset. Let's have that there. Again, let's have a look at this. Does have a couple of upgrades. We can add 2 extra fire engines. And then we can also add extra garages on there as well. I think we'll leave it be for the right now. We don't need a ton of fire service. Again, really cute. The red brick, really. There's something about a red brick and a flat roof, isn't there, that really just screams UK. It's very nice. Big fan of it. And just supremely put together again as well. Really, really cute. So we'll have this on our main road here. Let's go ahead and place down some of these zonable assets here, because I think I'd like to use... let's go into our find it filter, so we'll go for UK, and then let's go into our buildings, and let's get some mixed use. So there is a 6 tile asset here, which is the UK mixed suburban shops, which is absolutely fabulous. Isn't that wonderful? So they have pane in the glass, hairport, never a plain haircut, fantastic. And they even have a one shop. That's so cool. Open every day 6 AM to 10 PM. Your local store. Sort of place you'd buy vapes from, usually in the UK these days. A lot of disposable vapes around here. Hopefully we'll get some disposable vape props as well. That would really instill the vibe. But I'm happy with that, right? Very UK asset. So this is going to be a mixed use building, right? And our residents and businesses here, which is very sweet. But let's come back into our UK pack here. Let's change our depth around. So we can get a lot of these mixed residentials, which are a lot of fun. Go ahead and get some different ones in. Create a bit of a street. And again, just so good. Red brick all over. Classic UK chimneys. Someone's converted a loft there by the looks of it. Absolutely class. Really, really love them. Of course, they make use the plot, so they will eventually fill in with a business once we get that demand. But until that point, look at that, the back of the houses. So I'm really keen to get some terraced houses in here. A real kind of distinct vibe of UK towns, especially old working towns, is the terraces, which look very cool. So we can place some of them down our main street here. Let's go ahead and get them in. We'll do different levels, levels 1s, 2s, 3s. Let's change our width filter down here as well. Let's get down to street level here. So for those, of course, familiar with the UK, you'll absolutely recognize this sort of infrastructure. Very, very cool. So these are all our terraced houses. In terms of the zonings we're going to get with this pack, let's have a little look at them. So let's come into our zoning tab. So we get a UK low density detached, medium density semi-detached, and then medium density terrace, our mixed use housing, a medium density housing, and then a UK high density housing. So it's all kind of mixed use and residential focus, this pack, but you can certainly have a lot of fun with it. Would have been nice to have had some commercial, but I guess we can get away with that with the mixed use, can't we? So with these terrace houses, they very often back onto each other with an alleyway usually running between the two. So I want to send the alleyway running down toward the arterial. 90 degree snap there. And then let's get some houses in here. So we'll have some come up behind our original set. Go ahead and move these into position. Those back gardens backing onto each other next door to a pub. Loving that aesthetic there. That's very cool. I'm happy to have different shapes and sizes fit the criteria here as well. So let's move down to something that's 2 deep. And we can explore some of the different houses here. Let's have that one's going to be a corner, is it? Well, that's going to be perfect there, isn't it? So let's take that one away. And we'll have that one in there. And we need one more for that corner. And that should be fabulous. And then let's pop a tree or 2 in here to fill the space that we don't have our set for. So isn't that cool? So realistic UK builds are now very much back on the menu, boys, it would seem. Which is just so cool. Turns out, actually looking back over Google Earth for this project, the UK is actually really inspiring. I definitely need to look back at Google Earth more for projects like this. It's just a lot of fun to kind of translate the infrastructure I'm so used to, because so often I gravitate toward building in a US style for some reason. I don't know why. But I want to continue these alleyways here, so let's go for 3 deep terraces. I quite like to use some of these smaller, older ones here, I think. So let's go with a depth of 3. And so we'll run our alleyway road up here. So 3 tiles there will be our first row. Next 3 will be the second, and then we want 1 more out that way, I think. Now let's just turn off our grid snap here and form up our road network. And how about we save a little bit of green belt here or something. And I don't want every road to connect back into the arterial, especially on these smaller alleyway roads. Let's just come on to our angle snap here. Let's bring that as close as it'll go, I think. Something like that. Let's go ahead and get this next set of houses plopped in. So I'm pretty happy with these terrace house configurations. Exactly the sort of place you'd expect to kind of find Gail Platt walking around. A little bit of Coronation Street, if you like. Alleyways and terrace houses. Big fan of them. Actually looking very nice at the foot of the city here as well, aren't they? That UK rooftop vista. it's so UK. I love it. Very cool. I think through here, very often, as well in most countries in the world, not that this is at all specific to the UK, but just a little bit of green belt, I think, through here. Connect it into those obvious connections. Directly outside the school, I think will be welcome. Something like that. And maybe even a little bit of, the school does have its own car park, doesn't it? I don't think some supplementary car park action would be unwelcome outside the front as well. Have that there. And then we'll bring our pathway into existing infrastructure and then down alongside here. Get some trees in there as well. Very nice. Thankfully, Egginburgh is already in the European theme, so a lot of the road traffic signs and traffic lights will translate quite nicely. But that's not too bad at all, that. You get a little sample spice of the UK homes there with the other stuff in. There is a little gap there. We could possibly try squeezing like a little 1D passet maybe. I think let's just fill that with some fun little trees maybe. Some smaller bushes on the corner there perhaps. But I love that. That's so cool. It's so mad to see UK infrastructure in CS for some reason. I know there's like a million CS1 assets on the workshop for UK, but I've literally never ever bothered with them, so this is my first time seeing UK infrastructure in any CS game, which is very cool. It really is. Little like back alleys down there as well by the side of the shop, that's very UK. It's all very UK. Of course. Let's go ahead and get some trees behind these houses as well, kind of sheltering the school here. That'd be quite a nice design for it. Fabulous. Of course, the UK town also wouldn't be complete without some football, some actual football. So let's bring in a large park, or a large sports park rather. And let's grab our soccer field. Well, there is football for us. Let's have this. So I don't think I actually want it on the main road. Let's see if we can arrange some more of these alleyways here. And I'd rather have it kind of adjacent to the school, if that's something we can look at. So let's have the pitch here. We'll just move it to position it where we want it to be. Which is about there in my UK town vision. And we'll give that a frontage with side of a building snap. There we go. Everyone's happy and connected. Should be. There we go. So football pitch, proper UK town vibes. We'll have that there. And we'll probably keep these small little back roads running under the motorway as well. Which in today's episode it is a motorway rather than a highway. This is essentially from the introduction time lapse, the Thelwall Viaduct of the M6, if anyone's ever driven over it. It's a stretch of motorway I frequent very often. Yeah, it comes into a bit of a dumbbell configuration here. So regardless, let's not get distracted. So we checked out some terraces. We got some mixed use here as well, which we have residential demand slowly coming in. So hopefully not too long before these guys get a business, or commercial demand even. My mistake. Let's connect some more roads down toward the waterfront here, and then I'd love to play with one of my favorite assets from the whole pack, which is the UK parish church, which is just fabulous. Absolutely awesome. So finally, we get a proper church in CS2. No longer have to repurpose the fire station anymore. It even comes with its own little graveyard. Isn't that wonderful? I think with this road here, I'm actually basing this off of a churchyard I grew up playing football in, pretty much. The local priest was not happy with us, and I think it even led to the dreaded no ball games sign, which those in the UK will absolutely be familiar with. Let's generate some parking for the church here, so let's have a little custom parking lot. Let's go ahead and chuck this together. So we can create a little custom spot for our church, and that's going to be a wonderful corner asset, isn't it? Isn't that fabulous? Really, really cool. Just great little cover on the front. Because it helps with the asset makers also being UK as well. They have just perfect local inspiration to draw from. The stained glass on the church as well. Absolutely fantastic. The urge for a UK build is extremely strong, everyone. Do let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see a dedicated UK series. I imagine it's something some of you should hopefully be interested in. Cool, let's bring some more roads down this way. We'll carry on our little under motorway loop round here. So another kind of quintessential design of UK towns is tower blocks. Tons and tons of social housing, flats, and we have our own speciality here. So there's some signatures we might be able to use actually. Let's check these out first. First for UK, so we have the executive mansion, which we won't have in today's build. But we do have these city apartments, which are quite big. I don't hate them. So if anyone's ever driven through Glasgow, I can't remember the motorway, editing egg I'm sure will tell us during the edit, you would have passed by just hundreds of these tower blocks that lie alongside the motorway. And what you imagine would be a pretty horrendous existence, having to live next door to a literal motorway. Especially through a city centre, it must be incredibly loud. But it is where they do reside. I think if we were to place one of them, that's essentially Glasgow, isn't it? And we're on the Great Highlands map as well, so it's actually very appropriate, isn't it? Yeah, this sort of vibe, you see it everywhere. Especially just go drive through Glasgow, and this is it. You're basically driven through Glasgow today by watching this episode. So that's obviously one of the signatures. Let's come into our own. So if we search for flat, yeah, we'll get a number of them. So we can have 6x6. I love to do some like repeated pattern stuff as well, because so many of these blocks often run in patterns. I reckon this one might really suit a pattern actually. So let's grab another alleyway road here. And I want to feed this, let's say, off in that direction. Let's actually do a little bit of slope work here as well beforehand. Maybe let's just make it a little bit easier. And then with those assets we like, this one right here, let's have 1, 2. Now these I reckon will actually go really nicely just being fused together like that. I'm also going to set them to the same height. Yeah, I like that. And I want to bring a road up alongside. Then back here again without necessarily connecting back into the road. I think it can be quite easy to overdo the road connections here. I'm going to use 2 of these fused together, set them both to the same height. We'll have them like that, and then let's do 1 more of these. So let's have our alleyway road come through here again. And then down this way, let's use a slightly different positioning, something like that. And then we'll have, hopefully we can fit this in. We'll be able to, maybe it will allow us to do it, I think. And then something like that, I think. And then maybe even 1 more. Could I do 1 more? I think I probably could. I think we'll have another connection into the estate here. Which is definitely what you call these in the UK. You'd absolutely refer to it as an estate. Usually a council estate is what that's referring to. Although there are country estates as well. It's not always associated with kind of social housing. I think a little block of repeated apartments there. Right? They are very Soviet, I suppose, aren't they? Very kind of 60s, 70s, sometimes 80s Britain, these tower blocks. But it's absolutely how you see them. In little patterns like that, I'll be happy with that. And then let's connect in our smaller road here again as well. Make a big song and dance out of this junction. And then I wouldn't mind some more. Oh, this is classic tower block, this one. Let's get a few of these in. Can we get the different height maybe? Level 3 is a bit taller, comes with its own car park. I'd be happy with that. And that's pretty much the same as the signature building there, isn't it? So let's choose something else. There's also some like smaller flats here as well. Really is just hundreds of assets with this pack. Yeah, maybe let's have these ones on our main street here, perhaps, I think. Yeah, fantastic. And then we'll fill this with some sports parks as well. Let's do a couple of basketball courts behind. And we'll get some trees listed through this estate as well. We'll bring in lots more detail during our time lapse here today as well. And I think just, again, often something you see is just these path networks that hug the building. You'd absolutely expect a pathway here that comes up toward the football pitch. Connects over to this one. So you can really just kind of walk around the estate from tower block to tower block, if you like. There we go. And then we'll have another one put through there as well. Then we can scatter some trees. I reckon an outdoor gym would be great here as well, wouldn't it? Go ahead and chuck one of those down there. Make everyone around here happy. Yeah, so we can create little kind of council estates like this right by the highway. Obviously, the price they pay for such cheaper rundown housing is you have to live next door to a motorway. But I really like that. And it's so nice to see UK vibes coming together already, isn't it? This is very workers and resources here, isn't it? I like it though. It'll work. It'll work. But tremendously happy with that. So let's move into a detailing time lapse. I want to place down lots more detached and semi-detached housing. And a bit more of this mixed use as well down the main street. And then lots of detailing in between our countable estate vibes. And continue just to explore and enjoy the UK pack in the space that we have prepared. And please feel free to drop some name suggestions as well for our UK town today, because I haven't named it, so I'll leave it up to you guys. But otherwise, let's do some UK town theme detailing, and then we'll be right back. Alright guys, let's have a little look around the UK inspired town, shall we? So the interchange is now fully decorated up, which looks absolutely wonderful. Real big fan of this. Connects into a wider national road network beyond here, with things to come, of course. Whatever lies over there, we'll see. And then these UK assets are just absolutely fabulous. I really, really love them. Oh yes, also on the motorway. And we've also named it the M6 and Junction 21A. Which is actually really thematic. I think I need to name my highways more often. It's very immersive, isn't it? Having your junctions named in sequence as you move kind of in one direction, if you like. And then big, wider housing estate here. And a bit of a wider perspective of the UK town with the rest of the city. It sits in really nice. It's like an outer-lying suburb, doesn't it? As we approach into the town, we arrive at a little playground on some well-trodden ground with some fence work and some overgrowth. There's also some abandoned trolleys next to a huge pile of rubbish over here as well, which is great. And then approaching the high school, we have some custom car park with lots of greenbelt that settles into our terrace housing area, which is very cool. And then just a little winding classic English suburb with relatively random wavy roads kind of boxed in against the interchange here. Some parking, extending of textures has been done outside the high school, both on the front of the building, so they actually have a path to walk down here, and then also on the dog park through to the car park as well, which spills onto the campus, the playground, some more row housing over here, well, the mixed density anyway, which some of it has filled in, some of it's still waiting, so if we go up and down, I'll show you more of the ones that has filled in. Here you go. We now have tiny toys and everything's cheap on these mixed uses. But as that demand slowly comes in, this street will fill up, as was the case with our French and German build as well. I will head down the main street first before we check out the council estate. We have the Morrisons here, which I hadn't covered in the video. Super cool asset, a commercial signature. And a clear reference to Morrisons in the UK, which is one of the major supermarket chains. So it's super cool. It's like the exact same colour scheme. All these supermarkets are like made out of red brick. Like it's so cool. Like absolutely love that asset. I always love kind of the malls and the supermarket assets too. They're very much needed, I think, for some immersion, I think, in a real city. And just expanded the car park and around it, added a couple of petrol stations, which is something you see all the time in UK supermarkets. Petrol stations as part of the supermarket. And then there's some industrial warehouses in here. We've had a business come in, still waiting for one next door. But just deleted their fences, added in my own, and extended them as a bit of admin for the site, if you like, and it also going to help satisfy some industrial demand for the city. Heading down here, we have some more mixed use, with some decorating at the front, expanded textures, post box as well, or letterbox. But unfortunately, it's not the red classic UK one, but nice and immersive on a high street anyway, seeing that. And then our street corner added in a roundabout, dropped in some extended beer garden detailing around Brian's. Oh, we realised the pub is called the Heath. I'm assuming Brian's is probably the brewery, right? That's probably the arrangement there. And this street corner is super UK. I really like this, especially this angle right here. There's a specific shot. This is probably your thumbnail today, I imagine. And of course, it's even raining as well. In our UK build, which is absolutely fabulous. I see I dropped out some planters here, extending of surfaces, tables and whatnot. And I really like it. Down here we have our police station on the corner, which is an asset we didn't place during the live play, but really nice anyway, again, very authentically UK. And then we've got a pub on the outskirts of town here before the rail bridge kicks in. And then you leave down to the currently unbuilt and unnamed town a little bit further down the road, which we will get to, of course. And then we have our church on the corner, which settles in real nicely here. And there's a bit of kind of church immersion, if you like, within the same green space. There's a pub down here called the Church Inn, which is very thematic. And then a bit of a fountain and planter and bench work on the street corner as the road peels off there. With some beer garden detailing. We also have a smoking area with a couple of bins and some cover outside for the smokers, even though it doesn't have a roof on it. But whatever, it's fine. Everyone vapes anyway these days. And then into our wider council estate, we have some basketball courts tucked in behind, some custom car parking, and extended texture work around the towers. Got in the skate park over here. Lots of extended textures in amongst these buildings with a fence wall, which is something you very often see around these council estates. They are kind of fenced in with specific entry and exit points a lot of the time. A little bit of well-trodden ground through here. And then we just have parking, trees, a couple of parks scattered around on the interior of the council estate. With a pathway that runs along the river with some foresting. And that comes out over here and at a number of places as well. And we also fully upgraded the doctor's surgery over here as well, which is cool. Expands the footprint of this. But the pack is absolutely fantastic. Don't forget it is available to download for free on Paradox Mods right now. But otherwise, guys, that will do it for today. Let's thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to Paradox again for choosing to sponsor in the UK build on the channel. That's really nice of them. Really appreciate their support. And a big shout out to all our patrons with a roll call to our Golden Eggs, Andrew Perez and O'Higgs. If you want to get involved in that, links are down below if you'd like to help support the channel. And a huge round of applause to Macwelshman and Rik4000 for their work on the UK pack. It is absolutely sublime. A lot of the assets are instantly recognisable, especially this more kind of terrace housing northwest area of the UK where I grew up. A setting that I'm very familiar with, and I've really enjoyed putting this together today. I hope you have enjoyed it. Please hang around for some cinematics of the wider area as it settles into the city. And I think we'll certainly stick to these UK assets this side of the river. I have some more ideas further up the road. Otherwise, I'll shut up and leave it there. I want to thank you all so much indeed for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.